On this episode of Carnage, we've got the engine and box in the car, but we've hit another weird obstacle. I'm starting to think we may not have made Mopar Sunday. Well, it's raining outside and it's pouring problems inside. Yes, well, the engine and box is in place, but it's not in place, if you know what I mean. The engine is sitting where it kind of needs to be, but it all needs to be back about 15 mil. And we can't get it all the way back because there's this weird side piece on the extension housing. It's not part of a normal 904, and I think this is because this was a truck box and it's having problems fitting into the car chassis. Now, we can't relieve the area of the chassis because it is one of the strongest strengthening pieces on the car. We can't hammer it up because it's super thick. But what we might have to do is replace the tail housing on this transmission altogether. And hopefully that'll work. Walk this way. So this transmission draining its lifeblood onto our floor is a slant 6 904. You can tell by the weird shaped bell housing. It has a more traditional tail extension on it. The extension housing is certainly the right shape. And I'll explain what's kind of happening if you come over here. So when you remove the extension housing off one of these 904s, there's this little port here. It's like a inspection port where you put in circlip pliers, you undo a circlip and undo these bolts, and the whole extension housing lifts away. Well, that port on that transmission is on the side and it's super bulky and it's hitting up against the chassis rail, or basically the cross member. So what we're going to have to do is pull this extension housing off and hopefully fit it to that box. I'm pretty sure they are the same length. No guarantees, of course, but I'm hoping this will be our solution. So we'll pull this one off first. Hopefully we get it off intact and then try and fit it to that box. All right, so I'll start by removing the speedo drive. We had to do this anyway because I didn't have a speedo drive in that box and I was always going to rat the one out of this box for it. Alright, come out. There we go. One speedo drive. There we go. Well, that was fun. Not. Hopefully our output shaft is the same diameter on that box. I don't think they would have changed it, but you never can tell. The good old KT26s. Everyone makes comments about these KT26s. I don't know the fascination, but anyway, I just buy them because they're cheap, and I'm cheap. There we go. That's as far as it's going to go. What did we do before power tools? We undid things by hand like peasants. hello, baby. All right, next level for you. There we go. Inspection port. Oh, jeez. Someone had their Wheaties. Not sure why they changed it. I mean, there was nothing wrong with it being there other than the fact that you had to undo the mount, which you kind of have to do anyway, so changes for change's sake, I think. Keep the pliers in there. Bingo bango. Awesome. Now the big question, are they the same length? Yes, they are. Winning. So you can see how much bulkier this tail shaft housing is compared to this one. I'm guessing it's because it was from a truck, so you know there might have been extra mounts and that sort of thing they needed to locate. I mean, you've got this part which doesn't exist on this part, and this one's so much slimmer. So we'll be going with the car housing, I think. Yep, that's in the ballpark. Alrighty, let's whack some bolts in it. Okay, let's mount it up. All right, just hand checking everything. It's always good practice when using power tools. You never know if you've got a dud battery or whatever and you're not doing them up fully. So anyway. Nope. So what was a show-stopping problem yesterday has become a relatively simple fix. Beauty. Nice to have a win. Okay, cross member. I will go back and put proper washers on them later. Alrighty then. Okay, so the engine and box is in the car. They are bolted in position correctly. You may notice that the engine does sit towards the driver's side. That is factory. I mean, they are still based off an American floor pan and design. So basically, you know, they had the engine sitting this way to clear what would have been a steering box on this side of the car. Well, you know, when the cars came to Australia, the engineers just bolted the steering box down there but didn't move the engine anywhere. So the engine does sit towards the driver's side from factory. So I haven't put it in wrong. it is in the right spot. But we have some other issues to address. So let me get the car up and show you what those are. So you may remember me bolting up this flex plate and saying how good it was going to be because it was SFI approved and super thick and strong, yet it's going to be a problem. Now, after I did that last video, the guys at Valiant Spares gave me a call and said, Scott, I don't think that flex plate's going to work for you. It's going to interfere with the starter motor. And they are correct. Now, while you can see the ring gear here is just clear of the flex plate, the way the starter motor works is going to cause a problem, and I'll show you why over here. So here we have the original style starter motor. It's massive. And there's our little Bendix, the cog that slides out, except this cog doesn't slide out by itself. The whole unit slides out. So while the gear itself may miss the flex plate, this part will not. So that's not going to work. I even tried looking at this, a smaller starter, but in fact, this part of it hits the flex plate. So even the small starter doesn't work. So that means we need to find a new flex plate, and I have already found one online. It's ordered, it's on its way, but it's not here yet. So we're gonna have to pull the box out when that gets here, put a smaller, more compact flex plate on there so we can bolt it up so we can make our starter motor work. So that's one of our problems. Obviously we've got to do our exhaust system. Thankfully it's only a jump from there to there, but we still have to make up those pipes. I did have a tail shaft out here. I thought it was the right one, but it's actually a 727 tail shaft, which is the one rolling around the floor right here. That was in the back of the ute. 727 tail shaft's not going to work for us because A, too short, and B, it has the wrong unit on the front. But I do have a solution, and that is this tail shaft, which came out of the wagon. I won't name it that wagon, but yeah, it came out of that wagon. I won't use that L word, it gets us in trouble. But if I slide that up in there, it is now the correct length for up here. All right, so that's going to be the right length. I've just got to push it up there. But that is going to be the right length. Now, will I use that tail shaft? I don't know. It's a little bit on the light side. It's also very rusty. So what I might do is hand this one off to the guys at GJ Drivelines and get them to make a replica of this in a much stronger material. So another thing we need to order, and the list goes on. So now that we've got our engine and box in place, let's check the radiator fitment. Okay, and that does look like it's going to fit okay. However, it is very tight around this water pump area, and I'm going to have to get water pump pulleys and stuff, which I don't have. So it's another thing we need to order, because I want the pulley on that water pump before I get the final fitment of this radiator in place, because who knows if it's going to interfere between the thermofans and the water pump. This is something we need to check. So that's at least 3 major items we need to order, well, have ordered, and they're on their way, but it is kind of bringing us to a bit of a standstill. There are things we can do in the meantime, and we will do them. We've got the issue of, and a few people did note this, the rocker covers actually hit the intake manifold on the inside here. So we need to do a little clearance on the lip of the rocker covers so they actually bolt down properly. At the moment they do not bolt down solidly, and you can see that by the fact that the gaskets are a little bit loose. So we will clearance those. we might as well make those exhausts work. We've got the welder here, we may as well make that happen. There's plenty to do, but yeah, we seem to be, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's a process. But anyway. All right, well, I guess we should end it there for this video. Like I said, stuff's on order. Hopefully it'll be here soon. I got some stuff to do in the meantime, like clearancing those rocker covers, doing the exhaust. Hopefully they're all done by the time we're back here with our other parts. But yeah, you're going to see on that on a future episode of Carnage.